Hello, this is David Barron. I'm also known as Dantalian Jones. We're going live on the Advanced Hypnosis Skills Facebook group, and this is new technology. So what we're also trying to do is make this available to the University of Hypnotism Yahoo group, and it's basically for anyone here who wants to learn hypnosis. If you don't know me, I've written under the name of Dantalian Jones. There's lots of books on persuasion and hypnosis under that name. But I also have worked professionally as a hypnotist with about 10,000 hours of clinical work, working with people. In some circles, that people will say that qualifies me as what's called a master hypnotist. That's a little bit humbling, but I just rather prefer to talk about I've worked about 10,000 hours with people. What's going to happen every week, and sometimes even twice a week, we're going to open this up for questions, and if you'll go to the Advanced Hypnosis Skills Facebook group or the University of Hypnotism, which is on YouTube, you'll find we already have a growing number of topics and discussions of hypnosis and hypnosis skills. If you have any questions, please just send them my way. Either post them below, or if you want to, you can send them in an email or a comment. I'll be happy to address them. I have addressed already a little bit about the hypnosis pre-talk, but I did have some questions that came to me that I will talk about in a few moments. What I wanted to specifically address right now was about simply the topic of how to learn hypnosis, or about learning hypnosis. What's the best way to do it? There are lots of ways of learning the details. Honestly, the majority of my learning early was simply with books and reading. When I say early, this was pre-internet, so everything I got was from a book from the library or one that I purchased somewhere or another. And beyond that, it was about applying it. Now, later on in the 90s, before I actually started doing this professionally, I did manage to find some people who, much to my amazement, did hypnosis professionally.
New messages received from Ryan.
And what that means is that, excuse me, my phone.
Received from Ryan.
All right. What that means is that as I worked with these people, they not only taught me things, but they trained me in a lot of really cool ways that they actually sort of messed with my head. And so everything that I liked about hypnosis was, in fact, even more exciting. What I recommend anyone to do who wants to learn hypnosis is really ask themselves why it's important to them to learn. And I will say that simply because if you really understand the motivation behind you learning it, it's going to drive you a long way. I know that for me, while I was very young when I started learning, my motivation was largely toward sort of a juvenile desire for power. But later on, when I actually started to work with people, even with the meager skills that I started out with, I started to see people change in the most amazing and positive ways. And yeah, I would even do it in humorous ways as well. But it was in the ways that I was able to affect people in which they had a very positive, a very dramatic change that really made the difference for me and really sort of fired up the motivation. I say this often enough that there are times when you will see such a dramatic and such a positive change in somebody that one experience for you as a hypnotist will be enough reason for you to just keep doing it. So figure out your motivation. Figure out why you want to do it. I know one reason to learn how to help people with hypnosis or learn hypnosis that doesn't really last is the desire to have power over people. You will only go so far. And you'll find that there are certain limitations. Most of the limitations lie within your own desires. So extend that. Extend it to around helping people, about seeing them and experiencing them, doing some really amazing things. Now, I wanted to also address, I had talked earlier, and you'll find a video earlier about the whole topic of the hypnotic pre-talk. And I realized after I'd given that discussion, there were a few things that I left out. Quite simply, the whole purpose that I give a hypnotic pre-talk. Now, most hypnotists who give a pre-talk will tell you that they want the person to understand and feel comfortable about what hypnosis is. For me, I have a slightly different intent. I want to have a emotional and a strong impact on them. That's the purpose of the pre-talk that I give. So when I give a pre-talk, the first thing I want to do is I want to build a monstrous anticipation for the hypnosis session. I want them to feel incredibly excited that not only is this going to be a very positive change and a very dramatic change, but the whole experience of it is going to be...
Received from Ryan.
Oh gosh. Excuse me, just a second. The whole experience of this is going to be incredible for them. So once that anticipation is built up, they become eager to do the hypnosis. Not only am I like relieving a problem, anxiety or smoking, but I also let them know during that pre-talk that I am going to be replacing it with something positive and with something amazing and beneficial. So first we have the anticipation. The next thing I want to build with them is a belief standing that the process is easy. It's nothing mystical or magical or anything like that, even though it's very dramatic. That for the subject, for the person that I'm working with, they have one responsibility, a very simple responsibility, and I simply say it like this: the only thing that you have to do to get it that good, to get it that dramatic, just follow my instructions. That's it. Just follow my instructions. Okay? And usually once their enthusiasm is built up and they understand that all they have to do is follow instructions, it becomes a very, very simple process. Now, there are a couple of things that you can do that I encourage you to do even prior to the pre-talk. You might call it the pre-pre-talk, but that's the point where they call you and say, hey, I understand you're a hypnotist, can you help me with this? I want them to feel totally at ease. And I do that by simply saying, hey, look, I am more than happy to help you. I have experience with this. And I have a lot of good experience, but what will happen is, first of all, let's just get together. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to ask about this problem, ask about anxiety. I want to get some information. I want to know what it's like for you. I'll tell you what I can do and how I can help you. And if it's a good fit, we will go from there. And I can tell you, most people notice a very dramatic result the very first session. And on top of that, we'll do a follow-up. And that's basically just to make sure things are going well. And we'll fine-tune anything. And after the follow-up, if you need anything more, there's no extra cost. Just come back and I will be happy to help you with this. First of all, that's my policy of dealing with clients. It is not everyone's policy of dealing with clients. But I found that once you're able to, that I am able to talk with them on the phone to make them feel comfortable, they will come in ready for the hypnosis session. My predecessor, Jeffrey Stevens, and again, you can videos of him. I've put them again on my University of Hypnotism YouTube page. You'll find some videos of him. My predecessor, Jeffrey Stevens, his pre-talk, as I've mentioned before, was very simple. His pre-talk was 4 or 5 words. What do you want? That was his pre-talk. He would simply ask people, what do you want? He'd find out. He might ask actually slightly more questions, but he knew that if someone was willing to see a hypnotist and talk about a change, that they really didn't need to be prepared that much to follow instructions. That as strange as going to a hypnotist is, the reason they're seeing a hypnotist is because a witch doctor isn't in the phone book at that time. So they probably tried everything else, from a psychologist to a counselor to a naturopathic medicine to anything else, and they finally come to the one person who can change how they think. And by that time, they're ready. So for the most part, you don't really need a good, or a long at least, pre-talk. I've known some people who spend the first hour talking about hypnosis, and that's way too much time. You will probably bore them into hypnosis if you spend that much time talking to them about in a pre-talk setting. So I hope that answers some of the questions that I have here that I've been given about the hypnosis pre-talk, about learning hypnosis. What my goal is here is to make this available to anyone that I can. Every week or a couple times a week, I will put out a video, and if you have questions, please post them below and let me know. I will address them as they come live. And I want to thank you very much, guys. Please take care. If you have any questions, call me. If you want more information on the University of Hypnotism, we will be having the universityofhypnotism.com that's available. It will be up soon. And also you can check out some of my books at mindcontrolpublishing.com. Guys, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Take care.